Says we're live now. Go ahead. Are we good? Okay. Yeah, good. Hello, everyone. This is Planning and Building Services Representative Vandy Vandewater calling this April 14th, 2020 meeting to order at 2:03 p.m. in the afternoon. We're going to begin by roll call. So Planning and Building Services is present. Museum representative.
Present.
Archaeologist representative.
Yeah, William Call here, present.
We do not have our Native American she's connecting. There's no timber representative, and our alternate representative is absent without notice. Going back, Native American representative.
Yeah, she needs to unmute herself.
There we go.
I'm here.
Okay, awesome.
Hi, Allison.
Hi, Bill.
Cool.
Good to see you.
So moving on to the agenda, we'll go on to item 3, which is survey required, and we will go through these surveys in order of the agenda. So the first case will be case 3A, which is CDP 2019-0002. The owner applicant is Nikolai Stez. The request is an administrative coastal development permit to construct a single-family residence with a covered entry and patio, workshop, guest cottage, greenhouse, 8,000-gallon water tank, and a 120 square foot pump house, including the establishment of the Included in this request is the establishment of a gravel driveway, well, septic system, and connections to utilities. And this is located at 44035 Iverson Road in Wallala. And I'll open it up to commissioners.
Here you go. They plug into the thing.
Did any commissioners have comments on this item?
Yeah, okay, so I have gone over all of these items already, and I've already decided what should be done. So although this first one, there is no wetlands or drainages, although it's close to some. Right, I'm kind of on I couldn't quite make a decision on this one. Have you had a chance, you guys, to look at it?
Well, I'm kind of checking them out now. I'm a little behind, but it's relatively close to that one beginning of it. The drainage.
As I understand this correctly, there has or has not been a survey done of this before.
There has not.
It's on a pretty good trending ridge, so I mean that's some
We should have it surveyed.
indication for maybe we should look at it. Yeah. You want to go for it, Allison?
Sorry, I missed some. I switching my headphones.
Oh yeah. Go ahead and make your proposal.
I think it should be looked at.
Is that a motion?
I'll make it a motion. I'll make it a motion that we have CDP underscore 2019-0022 be surveyed.
So I have a motion by Commissioner Scott to require a survey for case CDP 2019-0022. Do I have a second?
Second the motion.
So a second by Commissioner McBean. So we'll do a roll call vote. So planning and building services is a aye. Museum representative.
Aye.
Archaeologist representative.
Affirmative.
And Native American representative.
Yes.
The motion carries 4-0. A survey is required. Moving on the agenda, we have case 3B, which is CDP 2020-0015. The owner is Craig Wesley and Ann Graffin. Applicant and agent is Superior Pump and Drilling. The request is a standard coastal development permit for 3 test wells on an undeveloped parcel. The location is 34550 State Route 1, Wallala. And I believe we have Matt Goins on the line as the project planner. And I will open it up to commissioners first.
Oh,
Okay, well, we can survey it now or later.
why later?
Because it'll have to come before us again if they decide to build anything on it.
That's because it's in the coastal zone, correct?
Correct.
Right.
We could wait. I have no problem with that.
Okay, I make a motion, case number CDP 2020-0015.
Sorry, Bill, before we make a motion, I would like the project planner to speak on the project if there's anything you'd like to say. Matt, if you'd like to unmute yourself and add anything, otherwise we can make a motion.
I don't really have anything to add. She's only doing this so she can sell the property so someone can develop it. She just needs to know if there's available water. That's all she's doing it for.
Okay. Thank you, Matt. So then, Bill,
Yep.
if you'd like to continue with your motion, please.
That way, I can't remember what we decided. I think we decided to postpone the survey until they're going to build something. Is that correct, Allison?
Yes, that's what I agreed to.
You okay?
Uh-huh. Thank you, love.
Okay.
So I have a motion by Commissioner Cole to not require a survey for this project. Do I have a second
At this time.
at this time? So I have a second by Commissioner McBean, so we will do a roll call vote. Planning and building is an aye. Museum representative?
Aye.
Archaeologist representative?
Affirmative.
And Native American representative.
Yes.
The motion carries 4-0, no survey required. Moving
At
on
this time.
to the last item of the review surveys is case 3C. This is CDP 2020-0021. The owner applicant is Carol Pierce. The agent is J. Andreas. And the request is a standard coastal development permit for after-the-fact construction of a detached garage and tool shed. Included is the request to rebuild the existing 1969 single-family residence, including the removal of a portion of its attached garage and storage space construction of a new detached garage and replaced septic system, as well as rebuild and construct additional living space to the existing 1940 second residential unit, including the construction of new wood fencing and connection to existing well and utilities. This is located at 15164 Casper Road in Casper. And I believe we have Carol and was Jay on the line as well?
Yes.
I'm here.
He's there. He is. Okay. So we will start with the commissioners, and before we make a motion, I will ask the applicant and agent to provide any comments that they would like after commission discussion. So it's open for commission.
Hello. My name is Jay Andreas. I'm the designer and agent. I just wanted to address the.
I think.
What? You don't want them talking, right?
So Carol and Jay, we will have you comment on the project after the commission just has a quick discussion and before a motion. So the commission, is there any discussion?
Yeah, it's a sensitive area. It's adjacent to the ocean. It's adjacent historic old town. Their structure's over 45 years old. Yeah, somebody needs to evaluate that 1940s building. And so a survey would be required. And I would make a motion to that.
Let's wait on the motions for the comments from the applicant and agent. Oh, were there any other comments by commissioners?
No.
Okay. So then Jay and or Carol, would either of you like to speak on the project?
Yes. This is Jay Andreas. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I would like to thank you for seeing us and bring forth the description is a little bit misleading in the fact that all proposed construction except for the new wooden fence on the north end of the property is already developed property. It's all going to happen on the existing footprint of the existing structures. The detached garage and tool shed was destroyed by a tree, as well as the second residence, and as well as the primary residence partially destroyed by fallen branches and trees. The reconstruction will happen on the footprint of the existing structures, including the detached garage, and we're not proposing any added living space based on the footprint of the existing structure, just based on, it's described like this because the accessor's square footage doesn't align with the existing structure. So the planner is considering that added space, but it's all within the existing footprint of the existing structures.
So other than the wood fencing and the connection to utilities, there would not be, like, you wouldn't be placing pads down or doing major ground disturbance?
Not outside of already developed areas, including the septic. The septic is a replacement of the existing failed septic system.
Okay, thank you.
And so, what part of this 1940s building is still there?
All of it is still there, just the tree destroyed. If you have the plans in front of you where it says entry in the living room, a large branch destroyed the roof and the exterior wall at that section of the original, which we're calling the second unit, but the original 1940 structure.
What kind of architectural style is it?
It is a old workhouse farmhouse structure. So it's not a bungalow. It's more of a small workforce housing. It's one of the original houses from the original farm that was, when it's subdivided, became the primary residence for this parcel.
So are you gonna rebuild it?
That is on phase 2, and it is proposed to be rebuilt in kind on the existing footprint.
Did any other commissioners have any questions for Jay?
Carol, the owner, is available if you have any historic questions. Her family has owned the parcel for quite some time, and she could provide any historic or property information if you have it.
Thank you. I'll let the commissioners consider the information, and then if anyone would like to make a motion.
Carol, is it okay if Carol speaks to the commission?
Yes, Carol, if you'd like to unmute yourself. If you're on a phone, it's *6.
Pardon, *6?
No, you're unmuted. You're all set.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I've unmuted. So my mother bought the property in '95, and I have never lived there except for one summer, but I visited very frequently. So I visited in '95 after she bought it, and everything that is there now was there when she bought it. There's been, well, except we had to rebuild the garage that was destroyed, and we rebuilt the tool shed right next to it that had been destroyed. But aside from those, the property is pretty much the same. In the interim, after my mother died, my brother was in charge of the property. I quit claiming my share to him. My stepdad gave his share to my brother. My brother's a Vietnam vet. He had probably a super dose of Agent Orange because he was in an engineering battalion that put in roads. So he came back quite debilitated, and he did nothing to the property. So it's deteriorated. It's totally deteriorated since then. He did nothing to maintain it. He did bring on about 30 engines from old salmon, diesel engines from old salmon boats. We have photographs of those. They were scattered all over the property. He was a mechanic. He brought on cars that he was working on. He was trying to redesign the Volkswagen, I think, but there were car parts everywhere. There were diesel engines we had to have removed. There was until this year a wood pile taller than me of garbage from the past, probably, well, since 1981 when my mother died. So we've had to clean up the property, and we've had to, there were a couple other, there was one other septic tank that my son, who was helping me clean up, fell into, so we had to fill that up. But of all the digging that's been done around there, no one's ever found anything of significance that, you know, as a cultural resource. However, my neighbor directly to the west, they had a survey done in 2010, and there was nothing found there. There was a suspect pit dug, but the neighbors, they determined from the previous owner that was for a garage that had been, there was a pit under the garage so they could work on cars. But there were no findings. There was nothing required. So, and there's a description of the property that says we're on the bluff. We're in fact not on the bluff. We're, do you know, remember how many yards it was? If you go west, we're about 900 meters or yards from the bluff. And if you go south, we're at least 400 meters from the bluff, but we're nowhere near the bluff. You can't really see the water from where we are. So I think that's a misnomer. If you have any questions for me, I think we had a lot of photographs that we wanted you to see showing the condition of the building, which is not of historical interest. It was originally built as a shipbuilding barn for the lumber company. The second residence, which were in phase 2, they were told 2 logging cabins that were on skids, and they were skidded onto the property. And then there was an adjoining kind of bridge with a beam adjoining those 2 structures. And they're all of the same. When you look at them or see photographs, they're all of the same. They were all built at the same time. There wasn't anything added to anything.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe we should probably have it looked at. I don't know. What do you think? You
Pardon?
guys, Benjamin, Allison?
I can't hear you.
Sorry, Carol, we brought it back to the commission for discussion. Thank you for your comments.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Well, if there was a survey required, what exactly would we have them survey, considering they're going to be building on existing areas?
I personally think we should forego a survey at this point in time, since there's going to be little or no ground disturbance and they're building in the original footprint.
I would agree with that.
Hey, Bill,
Yeah.
because the building is, just because we look for prehistoric stuff all the time, this building is still considered historic. So anything that's 45 years and older, we'd want to look at. But in the past, we've allowed just photos of the building to be entered into the record rather than having a survey. I mean, would you be,
Maybe.
instead of having a historical archaeologist and all that? I mean, it sounds pretty, not that it's extremely significant, but it certainly has a history of its own. I don't know.
Yeah. The Northwest Information Center says there's a prehistoric site within 200 meters
Mm-hmm.
of the property.
Well, then there's that too.
Well, it's just.
It would be
because
nice to know. It would
Go
be
ahead.
nice to know if the surveys she was talking about, the neighbor,
Yeah.
what that entailed. But are we going to be that inconsistent? I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say.
Well, I will actually I'll recommend a motion that We do not require a survey, but photo documentation of the 1940s building be recorded and submitted to the Northwest Information Center for their records.
Second the motion.
I would add to that, photos be sent to the Mendocino County Historical Society.
Okay, so I have a amended motion to not require a survey for the project, but photo documentation be recorded with the you said Mendocino Historical Society and the
Right.
Northwest Information Center. Do I have a second?
Second the
Second.
motion.
Okay, so I have a second by Commissioner McBean. So we'll do a roll call vote. Planning and Building is an aye. Museum representative.
Aye.
Archaeologist representative.
Affirmative.
And Native American representative.
Yes.
So the motion carries 4-0. Thank you, Carol and Jay. Your planner will send you your action sheet with the language that is going to be included.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Bill.
Yeah.
In the past, didn't we have since she knew some information about the building, that we had them write that up as well?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but pictures are good enough, I guess.
Okay. Moving on to the agenda, we're going to move on to section 4, which is review of survey. And we'll start with the first case, which is CDP 2018-0032. The owner applicant are James and Susan Lewis. The request is a standard coastal development permit to construct a roughly 4,800 square foot single family residence, accessory structures, and ancillary uses on a 97.2 acre parcel. This is located at 27201 10 Mile Road, Point Arena. Do we have anyone
I don't think we do.
for the list on this one?
I don't know.
Okay. So this will just be a discussion amongst the commissioners. There's no one in attendance for this project.
Okay, so I went over this and excellent coverage, and I approved the survey.
Is there any other discussion
Thanks,
between Commissioner Scott or Commissioner McBean?
I'm good with it.
Then if I can have a motion, please.
Motion to approve CDP 2018-0032 to accept the survey.
So I have a motion by Commissioner McBean to accept the survey for CDP 2018-0032. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Scott, and we will take a roll call vote.
Hold on just a minute, Vandy. I see smoke outside my window, and I live in the country, so I gotta go check it out.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna excuse myself.
Okay, well,
scary.
let's give her a minute, and if it's an emergency, we still have 3 commissioners. But let's take a quick hold on this roll call vote to make sure everything is okay with Commissioner Scott. Someone likes Indiana Jones, apparently.
Very appropriate for an Archaeological Commission meeting.
Maybe we can get Harrison Ford on one of our commissions these days.
Do we need any guest panelists?
Exactly.
We should have, on that last one, we should have had them send the photos to the Willits Museum as well.
That's true.
Yeah, maybe we can change that.
I can make a suggestion to the staff planner on that.
That'd be good. Maybe a little write-up too.
Does Carol have? Do we have two Carols on this list? Or is the other Carol just still on the line?
Well, why don't we go ahead?
Okay, well, we still have our three commissioners, so let's do our roll call vote. So planning and building services is a yes. Museum representative
Okay.
and archaeologist representative.
Yeah, affirmative.
Okay, survey, the motion carries 3-0 and the survey is accepted. 3-0. Okay. I'd like to ask the commission how we would like to proceed. Would we like to continue until Allison Scott or Commissioner Scott comes back, or do we want to wait for Commissioner Scott?
I think we should continue. This is burning up my data. I have limited data to do this.
So let's move forward so that we still have a quorum. So then moving on, we have item 4B, which is case CDP 2019-0002, as well as CDV 2019-0001. The owner applicant is Frank Abels. The request is an administrative coastal development permit for the construction of a single-family residence with an attached garage, including a driveway and production well, and the sewer connection to the public sewer district. There is also an administrative coastal development variance for the single-family residence to have a 29-foot building height above the average grade. This is located at 46785 Ocean View Drive, Wallala. And I'll open it up to the commissioners.
Yeah, I went over this one and it was very good coverage. You did a good job. So I accept the survey with the discovery clause or any recommendations that he made.
Commissioner McBean?
It all sounds pretty clear, so I'd say yes on that one.
Okay, before we have a motion, I would like the two representatives to be able to speak to this item. So we have Nicole Reese and Bronwyn Lloyd. Do we have to unmute them, or do they unmute themselves?
themselves.
So if you'd like to unmute yourselves, if you're on a phone, it's *6. Oh, and we have Paul Douglas as well. Is this right?
And Paul Douglas.
I think Nicole Reese is for a different project.
Is she?
She's for 2020 number 2.
I thought that's what they were on. Okay.
So we'll remove Nicole Reese from this project call. So it doesn't sound like Doug or Bronwyn have any further comment. So with that, can I please have a motion for this project?
Which case? Let's see. I'm lost here.
4B.
4B. Yeah, I make a motion that CDP 2019-0002 that we approve the survey with the recommendations and discovery clause.
I have a motion by Commissioner Call to accept the survey with the discovery clause and conditions of the survey, or recommendations of the survey. Do I have a second?
Second motion.
I have a second by Commissioner McBean, and we'll take a roll call vote. Planning and Building Services votes aye. A museum representative?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. An archaeologist representative.
Affirmative.
So the motion carries 3-0. The survey is accepted with the discovery clause and the recommendations of the report. Okay. Moving on, we have case 4C, which is CDP 2020-0001. The applicant owner agent is John Thomas Griffiths III. The request is an administrative coastal development permit to authorize the construction of a roughly 2,200 square foot multi-story single-family residence with a maximum height of 28 feet above the natural grade. The request also includes an attached roughly 600 square foot garage, fencing, detached greenhouse, 200 square feet of paved driveway, installation of septic and propane tanks, and connections to utilities including the Surfwood Mutual Water Corporation and common leach field. Removal of trees within the building envelope is requested to facilitate the development. And this is located at 44731 Baywood Drive in Mendocino. And do we have anyone in attendance
Well,
for
he's
this?
on the list, but I just see iPad. I don't know if that's him or not.
Let's try turning it on. Hi, is this John? All right, John.
You hear me?
Yes, we can. We're going to have the commissioners discuss for a minute, and then we will have you provide comment before a motion is made.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner McBean, it looks like you and me are the only ones left. So did you have any comments on this?
Only that the survey sounds clear and above broad, nothing significant found as of that, so I don't see why they couldn't proceed based on that.
Awesome. Well, I'm not sure where Commissioner Cole went, and we need 3 people for a quorum vote. So I guess we will unfortunately have to wait for Commissioner Cole and or for Commissioner Scott to return. And I would like to wait for either of their returns in case John Griffith would like to make any comments. So I apologize for this delay. Oh, here we go.
Okay, I'm back.
Hi, Bill. Did you have any comments on this project?
No, I accept the survey with the recommendations and discovery clause.
Okay.
Yeah, they did a good job. Yeah.
Before we have a motion, if John, you'd like to, or we unmute this, yeah. So John, is there anything you would like to add? You're currently muted. If there's.
I would like to, all I was concerned about is the schedule when I can start removing the trees for the building.
So that would occur after the approval of the CDP, not the archaeological survey.
Right. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, with that, I'll bring it back to the commission. Can I please have a motion?
Yeah, make a motion that CDP 2020-0001 that we accept the survey and recommendations and discovery clause.
So I have a motion by Commissioner Cole to accept the survey for CDP 2020-0001 with the recommendations of the survey and the discovery clause. Do I have a second?
Second the motion.
I have a second by Commissioner McBean, and we will take a roll call vote. Planning and Building Services is an aye. Museum representative?
Aye.
And archaeologist representative? Bill?
Oh, aye. Affirmative.
Motion carries 3-0. The survey is accepted. Thank you, John. And lastly, we'll move on to case 4D, which is CDP 2020-0002. The owner is Lime Redwood Timberlands. The applicant is PG&E, and the agent is Nicole Reese of PG&E. The request is a standard coastal development permit to remove 19 trees along an existing PG&E distribution line. And this is located at 31000 Camp 1, 10 Mile Creek Road, Fort Bragg. And we have Nicole and Bronwyn Lloyd for the project. So the commissioners will discuss, and then prior to a motion being made, we will have Nicole and Bronwyn make any statements or comments that they would like to. So I'll open it up to the commission.
Okay, so 70% of it has been previously surveyed. What about the other 30%? There are prehistoric sites nearby. Although they do say there's little or no ground disturbance.
Well, the project
But
is to remove trees. There's no construction.
But it is a sensitive area right between the two water courses.
They say there's going to be no ground disturbance. Does that mean they're leaving the stumps?
I guess we can have either Nicole or Bronwyn address that. If either of you, do we have to? I forget.
Yeah, how are they removing the trees? By how? And what about the other 30%?
Hi, this is Nicole. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was muted, unmuted, back and forth. Yeah, so the trees will be felled via chainsaws, and we will either chip and broadcast back onto the site or chip and remove, but likely since this is, a private residence, we'll be chipping and removing from the site.
Where will the stumps be left?
How big? What kind of trees? How big?
You're gonna have to give me a second. I don't have the individual data in front of me. Give me 1 second.
And who does Nicole represent?
PG&E.
Oh, okay.
Paul,
Are you a cultural resource person?
I am not, but Bronwyn is, and she is on the line.
Oh, good.
hello everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. To answer your question on the species of trees, there is a combination of Douglas fir, bay, grand fir, and redwood. There's a single
Okay, so
redwood and a single spruce.
Okay, so those are big trees, and how are you going to remove them without dragging them over the ground?
So my understanding from how these trees are removed is that when they are felled, they're laid on the ground and then lopped into smaller pieces,
Right.
and then chipped.
Yeah, we'll be using a track. I apologize, we're not the tree crews, but usually they'll bring a track chipper up, or they'll cut them into smaller pieces and walk them down to the road to chip and remove.
If I may ask, what about the stumps? Are they going to be removed as well?
It will be cut as low as possible to the ground.
But the stumps will remain.
Safely possible.
And then as a cultural resource person, how do you feel about the 30% unsurveyed area?
So that 30% was surveyed. Let me pull up the study number. The NWIC number has it surveyed in 2008. Now, granted, this survey was completed by a registered professional forester, not an archaeologist, but they did not identify any cultural resources within a quarter mile of the API.
I personally feel for the commission that since the stumps are being left behind or not being dug up, that a survey should, or that this project should be accepted as is.
I'll go with that.
All right, well then I'll make a motion to accept the project as is with no further study and the discovery clause included as a condition of the project. Do I have a second?
Second.
I
the motion.
second it.
I have a second by both Commissioner McBean and Commissioner Cole. So we'll take a roll call vote. So planning and building is a yes. Museum representative
Aye.
and archaeologist representative. Bill.
Affirmative.
All right, thank you. So we have a motion carries 3-0. The project is accepted as is. Thank you, Nicole and Bronwyn.
Thank you. Just a
Yes,
quick
thank
note.
you.
Just a quick note. I'm kind of worried about the lady that's missing. Is there any way someone can contact her otherwise?
Yes, I'm going to do that immediately after this.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm like sitting here. I'm like,
No, and I know this is on like YouTube right now, so we just a little interesting times we have, I'm sure, as everyone feels. But thank you, Nicole and Bronwyn. And with that, unless there are any other matters from the commission, I make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, everyone have a great day. Thank you so much.